Hey, everybody. It's SoCal Honey Badger and Ryan Stone. Say hi to the people.
Wait. So you get to sing your name, but I just get Ann Ryan Stone.
Well, you can sing your own name. That's why I said here
Well,
is,
I
and
can't
then
sing.
there
You
you
were the
go.
singer. That's not me.
That you fucked up. Don't put that evil on me. Don't put that evil on me.
I'm just saying.
Right? Exactly. So, on the itinerary today, kind of big news in wrestling. It
Yeah.
looks like Roman Reigns is if he's gone, he's gonna be gone if he's not gone, right?
So I read a little more into it, and it's looking like he'll be around for televisions and premium live events. The word pay per view is gone now for
Yeah.
WWE at least. It's now premium live events. He'll be there for TV for those live events, but he won't be making too many house show appearances. Apparently, like the B towns won't be getting Roman Reigns.
It seems like they're putting him on kind of it seems like they're strapping the rocket ship and turning him into a Hulk Hogan. That's what it seems like to me.
You know, and I'm not against it. I'd even be cool if he missed a few TVs here and there. I'm fine. You know, it's your world champ. You got to put him on your pay per views or premium live events. You got to have him on those monthly events, but like, you don't need Roman every week. You could have a week without Roman. Just put your IC champ up top.
Well, here's
I mean, it's Ricochet, and you know they won't do that, but you know,
right. Here's my initial theory, okay? So what is going on is it just seems that Roman is going part-time, and I think the reasoning for that is WWE is kind of pushing him to go into movies, and I think what it is now that John Cena is part-time and working in Hollywood, they're starting to see like, "Oh shit, this is like pretty big PR." And John
yeah,
Cena is not really a part of our organization like that anymore. But
nope,
what if we got one of our guys into Hollywood and every time he went to one of those Hollywood, red carpet events, movie premieres, anything having to do, and they carried that big ass, blue ass fucking Lego belt with them? Right? And that's what I'm thinking is like, yo, this is WWE's way to get an inside man into Hollywood. They're going to put the
sure,
belt on Roman. They're going to decrease his schedule so he can work Hollywood shit, do little cameos in movies, more so than he's been doing. But I mean, he's been in like Fast and Furious, he's been in movies, but like, more so
yeah.
than he's been doing now. So that he's going to all those events as the WWE champion. And then when he's ready to give up the belt, he can go full time with Hollywood, and WWE can put that rocket ship on the next guy. And that seems like the system that they're going with, right? The whole churn is that WWE is trying to basically be a middleman to mainstream success. If you're in the mainstream and your popularity is either at its peak or maybe faltering a little bit, or maybe you're trying to get more popular, you do something with the WWE, you're right back in business. If you're an athlete from somewhere else that maybe couldn't make it in the NBA or the NFL, take a couple of months in NXT, parlay that into the WWE, and maybe you could go on to Hollywood or whatever the fuck else from there. And it seems like that's what WWE's entire business model is turning into. It's selling stardom.
You know, yeah, and I'm going to agree with you 100% on this. And that's exactly what it's looking like, to give him a little bit more time to do Hollywood stuff. You know, man, my concern is, do you remember the movies The Rock did when he was kind of going towards that part time? They weren't very good. It actually wasn't until he got out from that WWE umbrella that he started to do more projects. Now I know they're not really pushing the WWE movies anymore, as far as I know, at least they're not. But geez, man, if they were wanting him to go Hollywood just to be in the Marine Seven, uh,
Yeah, but see, I
I don't
don't
know about
see
that.
I don't see that being the case, man. So like all that stuff that The Rock did back then, I mean, that was back then. It's different now. The Rock is the homie now and he's tight with Hollywood. So it's not like Roman's
He's the biggest
gonna be,
dude in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it's not like Roman's gonna be fed a bunch of like shitty fucking roles, right? Like the last movie he was in was the
I would
Fast and Furious movie with The Rock. And
Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah.
I imagine The Rock is going to be looking to protect Roman. I mean, they are family. Not even just the WWE like connection, but just the fact that like Roman did grow up with The Rock. So, that I don't know if you're watching the Young Rock TV show, but
I am not.
apparently Roman's in there in the new season as a little kid.
Oh, nice.
And it shows how he kind of grew up with The Rock. So, and The Rock makes that show, so I assume that everything in there is quasi true, at least as far as.
Oh, it's going to be embellished for entertainment purposes, absolutely.
Yeah, but The Rock isn't going to put shit in there that is absolutely wrong. Because it's his life. It's his show about his life.
Now, I did see a clip. I haven't seen the show. I saw a commercial where it was like, you see this little kid climbing over the guy who plays The Rock. And then the kid just looks over and points at the TV and says, "Acknowledge me." And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that happened.
Right. But I mean,
and then it cuts to like the voiceover of The Rock going, "That's my nephew Joe," or cousin Joe, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm like, yeah, I'm sure the kid's really yelling, "Acknowledge me." But yeah, I'm sure they grew up together, or maybe not grew up together, but he was a part of, probably in Joe's life. Roman Reigns' life as a child, when he was a child and stuff. But honestly, man, I don't know how well Roman's gonna do in Hollywood. I think he'd fare okay. Most WWE guys, they have that, one take knack. You hear, James Gunn was talking about that with Batista and John Cena, like just praising their abilities. And he's like, you guys realize wrestling is kind of like a crash course for Hollywood, except they've got one take to get it right. I think Jericho even says this too. But hearing it from someone like James Gunn, who's done, some massive blockbusters for Marvel and DC, and hearing him say, how he's impressed by how these wrestlers are coming in and knocking it out of the park. Obviously you still have to have a passion for it. You look at someone like Batista, who went through acting classes. The dude tried to make it as an actor and damn near went broke. He had to go back to WWE. And then he even said if he didn't get Guardians of the Galaxy, he was done, period. And that was right before he came back in 2014-ish. I think it was that Rumble in 2014. I don't know how well Roman's going to do. It's kind of, you see the different guys who've gone in, like, could he be the next Rock or could he be the next Hogan in terms of acting? Maybe we'll get a remake of Thunder in Paradise.
I think he's going to be doing fine. To be honest, what you need to succeed in Hollywood, and this is something that they don't really talk about a lot that wrestlers have. In order to make it in Hollywood, you have to be able to take direction. And that's one thing that when The Rock really blew up and started making his name in Hollywood, that was what he was praised about. It was like, yo, every director was like, every time I tell The Rock, hey, I need this, he does it exactly how I needed it the first time. Like you said, the first take, right? Wrestlers do that. And it's not so much that they do it as far as acting goes, but as far as professionally. Right? That was one of the big beefs between The Rock and Vin Diesel. The Rock is like, yo, I'm here at 6 a.m. ready to shoot, and somebody's in their trailer not coming out. And wrestlers have that because of the schedule. It's like, I got to make this town. If I'm not at this town, I don't get paid. They said be here at 6 o'clock. I need to be there at 4:30. And wrestlers live like that. That's how wrestlers live. That's the wrestling life.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I'm just, it just doesn't happen for everybody, and that's the only thing. Like, yes, we know in WWE a lot of the promos are scripted. For Roman, I don't know how much. They may trust him now. But you go back a few years and listen to some of his promos, and they felt scripted and they felt rough. Like, you see some of the people when they do backstage promos, like, I think Bayley and Sasha are amazing in the ring. But when they have scripted promos and they had to cut stuff backstage, oh my God, it was really tough. You could tell these women and people are just reciting lines. And that's the one thing, you're not going to get out there in Hollywood.
okay, we as wrestlers or wrestling fans don't like that because we're used to off the cuff. We're
Oh
improv
no,
artists.
I'm
But
fine.
Hollywood loves it if I can give you a script and you can read those lines exactly. Because remember, artists or actors are not artists. Okay, the artist is the writer or the director. They're the ones creating something. The actor is there to help the director or the writer get their vision out. So if you could just read lines exactly how I wrote them and not fuck them up, then you're perfect.
Yes and no. I mean, like you go watch some of those old promos. Like I think Shelton Benjamin is another one like that. When he has a promo that he's reciting, there is no energy. You could tell it was a pre-written line, or a promo
Yeah,
or
but we're
whatever.
talking about
And that's the
promos
hard stuff. It's like when you can get people that could read those promos, and you can give it to this other wrestler and you can give them the same promo and they can knock it out of the park because they know what words to put the what is it, inflection, I think is the right word for it. They know what words to, to be more firm with. They know what words to pull back, and because you're not going to have a promo written and it might be yell this line, whisper this one. You got to know your character and know your part. Hell, I could get a script and go read it and be like, the quick brown fox jumps over.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't,
we're comparing
without that
Roman
passion behind it.
promos. We're comparing Roman promos from like 8 years ago. Like his promos now are not like that. And
No, they're not,
we don't
but-
know if he's making it up or if he's reading a script. And I think that's the
100%.
magic. That's the magic. That's how good he is, that you don't know.
And
That's
I'm
what
cool
I'm
with
saying.
that. And
It's
like if he
you
could
will
translate
make it.
that to Hollywood, I think he'll be fine. I just haven't seen enough out of the guy. It's the same thing with The Rock. When The Rock went to Hollywood, dude, I loved The Rock. You loved The Rock. He was one of your favorite dudes, especially after you found out you guys were born on the same day. Not same year, but same day. Yeah.
Shout out
Not trying to say you're
years
old.
ago, right? Shout out to 2 weeks
shout-
ago.
But you look at The Rock in WWE back then, it's like you saw a couple things. You saw his comedic timing, you saw his heel work, but you didn't see all the layers. Like you go and watch his movies now, there's layers to the stuff he's done. There's some very heartwarming things. There's comedy, there's drama, there's action. He's able to kind of go between all those different genres where you didn't see that in his character. You didn't see that as The Rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When he's making fun of Kurt Angle, you couldn't translate that to a movie. You don't know. But same with Roman. I just don't know if he could translate that. If what he's doing today is scripted, holy crap, he's doing a fantastic job, and I think would have a great shot at being good on the big screen. You go watch his cameo in Hobbs and Shaw. It wasn't bad. There was nothing he did that was wrong. He might have had a line or two. The rest was
they
just
didn't-
action scenes.
They didn't give him a whole lot
You'd
to
have to
work
see
with.
more of it. And I think that's where, The Rock got that break in The Mummy Returns.
Yeah.
And you got to see a little bit of there, and you're just like, oh, there's something here. He hadn't figured it out yet, but you could see it and go, oh shit, there's something here.
I know what it is. It's the CGI scorpion at the end.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That was it. Once we saw that, we were like, yeah, that guy, he's got a future. That guy's going places.
Saw that CGI scorpion and I was like, oh my, dude, that was bad for 2001 times. Holy shit.
Right?
I'm pretty sure you and I went to the theaters to see that together too. Oh my God, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
we did. Dude, I'm just saying that I think that, wrestling is not different from acting. It's really not.
It's not.
And
But if you
so-
can't take the words written on the page and make them interesting, you're not going to be able to do that in the movies.
But
You know
gotta
what I'm
think,
saying?
dude, Roman Reigns is hardcore live theater training. Wrestling is, if we're going to say that it's Shakespeare, and it is, that's some hardcore live theater training, okay? Because I
100%.
trained in acting, man. That shit's a joke. It's here, why don't you just straight, here, loosen up your jaw by making weird noises, right? Mama me, mama moo, mama me, mama moo. Here, roll around on the ground to get comfortable in your skin. This shit is stupid. Right? I was
Right,
like, this
right,
is
right.
dumb. this doesn't give me any inclination into how to be an actor. And yeah, I did it for like years. And yeah, when you get deeper into like acting, then yeah, with method acting and all of that. But I learned all of that shit through years of acting school. I learned that shit in like the first day of wrestling.
Right? I remember I remember when we were in wrestling school, I think you had already gotten hurt, so you were just kind of sitting on the sidelines and talking to people. And I remember there was one night we were at training with Jesse Hernandez's school, and he wasn't having people cutting promos, but it was just in-ring work. And you were talking to one of the trainees, and you're just like, you got to get into that mindset. It's everything. It's how you walk. It's how you do this. And you were just kind of explaining the process to him. And you had guys that had been there for a couple of years, and I know there's probably one or two that are going like, who the fuck is this guy talking about? But you were dead on right with the advice you were giving this new guy. It's like, you got to be in this mode. It's like, if you're going to be this character, why are you walking like this in the ring? Why are you doing this? It's got to be, everything has to make sense. And you were talking about the method acting part of it. And I still remember that to this day. And this was 20 years ago. I still remember it to this day because it's something that I pushed onto my kids when I was training them too, because it is acting. This is definitely something that if you wanted to get into acting, wrestling's fantastic for it. Because
it's stupid.
Like I said, it's all the one takes. You got to choreograph a 15 to 20 minute match, and you don't have multiple takes. There's no stunt doubles. There's no, all right, stop, let's set this up. No, if it doesn't look right, fuck it. You sometimes just have to go with it. But there's a lot to it, and I think it definitely is a crash course for Hollywood, especially if you're on television like Raw and SmackDown and AEW. You're on live TV every week. It'd be the same thing as for like the actors who do soap operas. A lot of times those are done live. And you got to do that in one take. Imagine doing a 1 hour scripted television show with drama and all that type of crap that's not wrestling in live. It's insane. But yeah, wrestling is that crash course. And I think finally with the emergence, with The Rock, they were like, oh, maybe that's just an anomaly. Then you got Batista, and everyone's like, oh, maybe we do have something here. People have been enjoying Cena with as the Peacemaker. I haven't seen the show yet, but I've heard good things about the show in general. And I'm just like, okay, people are starting to really go, wait a minute, we might want to look at this avenue. And I even think WWE, you said it at the very top of this, they're becoming a place to be the jumpstart for your stardom. They have an initiative called Next in Line, where they go after collegiate and Olympic athletes to find the ones that have that it factor and bring them into wrestling. Look at Gable Steveson that they just brought in. Apparently he's getting reviews like he's got about as much charisma as a potato. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I saw him come out at WrestleMania, and I was like, okay. I don't know if we've got the next Kurt Angle or if we got the next Brackus.
I'm just saying that the world needs to open their eyes to what wrestling is, and we talked about the method acting, and you see 50 Cent becoming anorexic for a movie role, and he posts it on Instagram showing him all skeletal and fucked up, like he lost 100 pounds, and it's very sickly and disgusting what he did, but we praise it because it's method acting. It's like, well, 50 Cent is playing a role in a movie, we're going to praise this self-destructive behavior because he's dying for his art, but then within our own community, we're going to call like Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker brutality, and they're not actually destroying their body. Like, it's all a gimmick. Like, it just looks bad. It's blood, but it's about as harmless as a paper cut. And, actors go through and actually destroy themselves. Christian Bale, when he starved himself for that one role he did that for, that's permanent damage. Your digestive system doesn't recover from that.
But look at what he did the exact opposite when he played Dick Cheney. Yeah. He gained a bunch of weight, and you couldn't even tell that was Christian Bale. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Christian Bale.
Something like that. The actors do that shit all the time.
But I'm pretty sure that was.
That's what I'm getting.
Right. And that's the thing is, you see these actors, and you go back and watch The Wrestler. There was a scene in that movie where Mickey Rourke did a blade job. He said he legit had a blade made and legit gigged his forehead. because he was like, well, that's what y'all do. So why couldn't I do that in a movie?
Yeah.
Right? He's absolutely right. Why couldn't you? Right?
Yeah.
Is there some barbaric thing to wrestling? Sure. Like when I can't tell you how many times I got asked when I bring up, that I was a wrestler. Shoot, my my primary care doctor this week, because I had to, my previous doctor retired. My doctor this week, he's asking why my hips, my knees, my shoulders, and my back hurts. So I had to tell him. And what's the first question? Well, it's all a show, right? None of that's real. No, it's not real. That's why my hips, my knees, and my shoulders, and my back are all jacked up. None of it's real. And he's just like, wow, I just expected it. I said, wrestling rings are steel and wood with about an inch of padding. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, there's give to it because of how large it is. I said, but it hurts. And he goes, but you get used to it. And I said, no, not really.
No.
When your adrenaline's running, you don't feel it. I said, but you feel it later.
You feel it
but he's like, well, what about the blood? It's like blood capsules. I'm like, no, it's a little razor blade they stick in their forehead and twist. What? And this gentleman's probably in his 60s. I'm sure he knew, but he's like, what? But that's the reaction I get from everybody that I tell that to. And they're like, wait, you've never done that? Yeah, I have.
Why,
you've
are
cut
you
yourself.
Not seeing my back?
They're like, you've cut yourself. And I'm like, yeah, a couple times. Really? And that didn't hurt? I'm like, no, it hurt.
It's a high spot.
I said, hell, the first time I did it, I ended up slicing myself twice, and then I start seeing blood trickling down. I'm like, yeah, I got it, and it gets to my eyebrow, and it dries, and I have no more blood. It was like one trickle from the middle of my hairline down to my eyebrow, and it was done. I was like, well, that didn't work out. And yet my partner over there has 8 or 9 gig marks across his forehead, and he's laying upside down in a puddle. I
think only wrestlers would get mad about that. Only a wrestler would be like, damn, I didn't bleed enough. Like, it's just not enough blood. Dude, I mean,
the best color I ever got in wrestling was because a referee gigged me, and we were even in the back, and he would always like fuck around and walk up and like pretend to poke you. And then one day he poked me, and I started laughing, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And I had blood just running down my forehead. One poke. Damn. One poke. Yeah, here I am juicing myself twice, and I get nothing. One poke, and I have blood rushing down my forehead. And this was before the match. So I get into the match, and I tell the guy, hey, rip off the Band-Aid and give me live shots. Just start punching the wound. I want to bleed from it. That wasn't the plan, but fuck it. But yeah, dude, people look at that and go, oh, that's so brutal. I'm like, it's no more brutal than, like you said, 50 Cent losing all that weight, Christian Bale, or these actors and actresses that go up and down in weight. Hell, do you think that people like Tobey Maguire and didn't use the gas to get buff for Spider-Man? Come on.
Yeah, I'm
that's even rampant.
That it's less, dude. It's less, dude, because you put a Band-Aid on your forehead and it heals, and then you're done. Like, you don't even lose enough blood to get lightheaded on most blade jobs. Yeah, sometimes you do.
I've seen it pretty nasty. I watched a guy gig himself, and it was squirting out of his forehead.
Like that Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, I'm pretty sure both those guys were fucking lightheaded. I bet both of those guys were barely fucking conscious during that match. But
holy shit, yeah.
In your typical Ric Flair versus Terry Funk match, yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't. That's why Rick had the blonde hair, so it looked worse than it was.
Oh, dude, I love it whenever someone does a big gimmick match and they come out in their big match whites, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're bleeding tonight.
Right. you know it's gonna be there's gonna be a bloodbath if it's GCW and they come out in white t-shirts. You're like, oh fuck, these guys are gonna hurt.
Yeah. But also, like, it's not just that; it's the sweat gets in there and it makes the blood even more. Like there's a lot of tricks. I watched a couple people chew up a few aspirin before, like, an hour before their match, just to kind of thin the blood a little bit, and they'll drink some alcohol, like a beer, like one beer, like not trying to get drunk. They're just trying to make it so they could go pop and it runs.
My favorite is when Triple H forces it, because you see him every time. He always does the headlock spot, and he hasn't put him in a shoot headlock because you could see him real
Yeah.
tighten up, and then he makes that face where it looks like he's trying to pee really, really hard, but
Trying
you
to
could
force
tell
out a shit.
you
Yeah.
could tell that he's forcing the blood, and I'm like, man, Triple H, like, you shouldn't do that in the hard cam.
You know what I was actually taught this by the Colorado kid Mike Rapato. He never taught me how to blade. I was never taught how to blade.
No one.
I
found that no one's ever taught how to blade.
I was never taught how to. The only thing I was ever taught with how to swing a chair was swing it this way with the seat facing you, or it's gonna suck the other way. Okay. I was never taught how to do any of that. But I remember he would always say, if you're going to blade before the move happens. And I was like, why? He goes, because the blood doesn't come out right away. If you get hit in the head with a chair, and he goes like, listen, yeah, we all know that, but when you see it where it's like, boom, you get hit in the head with a chair, then you see a guy on the ground covering his head for like 30 seconds. What if before the chair comes, he's selling in the corner, pop, pop, does a couple poke and twists, turns around, takes the chair shot, and by the time he's selling back up, the blood should already be running. You know? He's like, do it right before the move. Don't do it after, because it's going to take longer for the blood to show up, and then you're laying there for a longer period of time. Or if you know it's just, you could just, you're going to get rammed into the turnbuckle or the post, you just pop, twist, hit, and and then you go for it. But I'll say this: I only bladed twice in my entire 10 years. Every other time I bled, I got busted the hard way. Yeah, and blading it. I know it looks barbaric, but like you said, man, it's pretty much nothing compared to what other people go through. I know we put ourselves through a lot of crap for wrestling, but like it's no more than what people put themselves through to go act. And I think even on a lower level, wrestling sick, hurt, all that. Come on, actors do the same thing. There is no fucking difference.
To me, like, it seems like and wrestling isn't competitive, but anything that's mildly, like, fosters a competitive atmosphere always has this kind of, like, sadistic side to it. Because I remember when I used to go rock climbing with my wife, and they'd have posters of, like, world championship rock climbers. And, like, one of the posters that got me was it showed, like, one of the female world champions. And it was kind of like one of those, like, I'm not the girly girl that you think I am kind of, posters.
Right.
But it showed a picture of her hands after she won the world championships. And they were pretty nasty looking. And it was like, kind of showing like, hey, as a rock climber, like at the highest level, like we destroy our hands. And I was like, dude, we're glorifying this woman winning the world championships and looking what she does to her hands to accomplish that goal. And this is seen as like, heroic. Like, this is an honorable thing. Look at her. She's a world champion. But, like, when a wrestler does it, it's like, oh, you're a Neanderthal. And it's like, no, like this is our fucked up hands, right? This is our fucked up hands from the world championship.
You want to know why? Because they don't take wrestling seriously. At all. They don't. That's the problem with general public. I look at it kind of like, maybe like NASCAR. While it's massively popular, there is a large section of the people that look down on it. Look down their noses because it's beneath them.
It's not that. It's where it came from. Okay, NASCAR gets looked down on by the general public because NASCAR started out as a way for bootleggers to test how fast their cars could outrun the cops. So it started out as a mafia thing. And then it just grew from there. So it always had this low-class feel to it, like car racing was low-class because it was just, like, at that level, they were pimping out their cars to outrun cops. And it was all mafia run. And it got that rep from there. And wrestling is the same thing. I mean, I don't know about necessarily mafia run, but it is an industry.
It's a circus sideshow.
Not even that. It's an industry built on a scam that now.
But that's where it started at, though.
Yeah.
It started at the circuit, the carnival circuits. It was started as a sideshow act. It was never treated like baseball or football or anything like that. Not a lot of people consider football lowbrow. I'm sure there's some that do. Some of these rich elitist people might, but a lot of most people don't look down on
look down on football. They buy the fucking teams.
Yeah, but I'm sure they still look down on it. Some people probably look at it, oh, well, we don't do that in our family.
I don't
Think
remember
something like
any
that.
poor people buying a football team.
That's true, but everyone, see, that's the thing though. Football is a mainstream thing. Baseball is a mainstream thing. People don't look down at hell. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. I wouldn't say Americans look their nose down on it. They just don't watch it as much as the other sports. But you look at wrestling, it's poo-pooed, Look at us growing up. We were massive wrestling fans, and I would get looks from teachers, adults, if I wore a wrestling shirt. It was just, and this was height of the Attitude Era.
Right.
It's just,
You know where I
that's what
noticed
people
that
think
doesn't.
about wrestling.
You know where I noticed they don't have that mentality so much is in
What's
Europe.
that?
Like
No.
weirdly enough, when I talk to people that are wrestling fans from Europe, like they've always known that it was a work, and they always loved like the artistry of it, and like they don't see it as like a less than like we do in the States. Like
Sure.
Europe almost looks at wrestling the way the Japanese do.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The Japanese treat wrestling like a sport. It's in their sport newspaper sections, the results, pictures. It's treated like it's a legitimate thing where kayfabe is still really real. Yes, they know it's a work, but they don't talk about it like that. Hell, this week's news on Kota Ibushi exposed a lot of things that
Right?
changed. In terms of what he said and what he has posted is like, whoa, yeah, we all knew Gato was the booker, but no one ever really talked about it.
Yeah,
and yet here's he posting a screenshot of a text message with a message to a New Japan office member talking about, I spoke with the booker Gato.
Hold on. You need to back up and catch up people that don't necessarily know the situation with that. So what exactly all happened with that?
Holy shit.
Start from the beginning.
I'm still trying to piece everything together based on the translations and the tweets that I've read. So what I've read, and this is my interpretation, is that Ibushi made an appearance back in March for another promotion in Japan. TJW, I think they're called. And apparently that wasn't authorized because he has an exclusivity agreement with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't think it's exclusive. I don't know if it's just exclusive to Japan or if it's exclusive to any wrestling promotion. I do not know. But I know he's got an agreement and he didn't get this appearance authorized by him. No, it's not TJW. It's
I thought it was
JTW, Just Tap Out Wrestling.
Okay.
Because it's owned by Taka Michinoku. And Kota Ibushi started posting tweets this week, kind of accusing the New Japan office of some harassment and some other interesting things. And then he started posting text messages with a member of the New Japan office, where he was complaining that when he got hurt last October, they were telling the fans, oh, he'll be back in 2 months. And it was a rush back, and he wasn't ready to come back by Wrestle Kingdom this year in January. And that this office member threatened to fire him, threatened to hold him out at home, and all these things. And then so Ibushi's fighting back on this and telling him, hey, I'll spill the beans on all the stuff that goes on here. I don't care, And oh man, there's even a crazy one that came out today. And he's threatening this guy. Hey, do it. Fine. I'll just expose it. I don't care. Fire me. I don't care. And then he posted a screenshot of some text messages where he said, hey, I went to the head booker Gato and he didn't give a shit that I made an appearance for that promotion. Dude. And he said, and I'm also going to have dinner with Kadani, I think his name, Kadani-san. He's the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And what's funny is he's even answering fan questions. Like, why don't you go to the owner of Bushi Road? And he goes, oh, it'll do nothing. And he dropped the one thing you're not supposed to talk about. And I'm not just talking about in wrestling. I'm talking about in Japan in general. He said the one thing you are not supposed to talk about. The Yakuza.
Wait, he mentioned the Yakuza.
He mentioned the Yakuza today
Okay, because
or
I
last
know he
night, whenever it
mentioned
was.
ghetto yesterday. All right.
Yeah.
What did he say there? Because, yeah, that's the
Nothing
one.
other than I forget the phrase. They didn't call him Yakuza. It was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to look this up because the phrase is very interesting, but that's kind of their maybe not code word for Yakuza. Um, oh man, it's so crazy. Of course, I search Ibushi, and the first thing that pops up is Ibushi Yakuza.
Right?
Um,
No, but here's the thing, though, man. The Yakuza, like, Sabu fears nothing, and he's scared of that shit, right? Because they almost
right?
killed him twice, right? Like, the Yakuza is very much entrenched in basically Japan. I don't want to say Japanese wrestling. I mean Japan. A lot of people don't know how that works out there. In Japan, the Yakuza is treated like a corporation. Okay, they pay taxes. They have
Mm-hmm.
lobbyists. Okay, you look at the Yakuza, which is the Japanese unorganized crime mafia. They're kind of like Walmart or
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's in Japan. They're out there. Everybody knows what they are. Everybody knows what they do, and nobody really fucks with them. And as long as they don't go shooting up downtown, nobody really cares, right?
Right.
But the Yakuza, it's not like the mafia out here or, the gangs or what are the Crips and the Bloods where they generally don't they generally aren't well known mainstream. Like maybe people in the mainstream know about Crips and Bloods because of rap music. But it's not like your local Crips and Bloods are walking around at like the Christmas donation drive Toys for Tots. But that's what it is in Japan. Like in Japan, you'll go to Toys for Tots, and this local Toys for Tots is sponsored by this local chapter of the Yakuza, and it's just weird that they're there and they're a part of everything, and no one's allowed to talk about them.
Mm-hmm. That
But
is right.
but they're
They're not
not
allowed
hidden.
to.
They're not hidden. It's like, dude, like the Yakuza, like they just open like food banks and homeless shelters. Like they're a very big part of like the charity out in Japan. And it's just wild. It's like, oh yeah, that food drive that's run by, the Yakuza. So yeah, when Ibushi mentions the Yakuza ties to New Japan, that's playing with fire. I didn't know he did that. Why the fuck
I'm
would he
trying to
do
find
that?
the tweet, but I can't right now. I'd have to take some time and maybe after we get done recording this, if I find it, I'll shoot it to you. But holy crap, people are going bananas for this. Not because it's like a surprise, but everyone's like, you're not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit that gets Ibushi disappeared in the night. That has nothing to do with wrestling.
He
Those guys
even
don't.
said that.
Okay, what did he
Holy
say?
shit. Like, if I disappear, something like
Paraphrase.
that. Like, it was
Paraphrase.
like, if I disappear type stuff. Uh,
Fuck,
but
dude.
he's basically going out saying, "Oh, I'm done wrestling. Period." Now, like if fans were asking, "Well, why don't you just go to Noah?" He goes, "No, I'm done."
Really?
That's what he's saying. Again, who knows what's real? You know, him and Kenny have a relationship, and
A
Kenny wants
mysterious
him in
one.
AEW.
I
It
don't.
wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think that Ibushi would be able to go to AEW. I think that would cause a shitstorm because AEW is trying to have a good relationship with New Japan. They're literally
That is
booking a
true.
forbidden door. If Ibushi
That is
leaves
true.
New Japan on bad grounds, I don't know that AEW would be quick to pick him up, regardless of what Kenny Omega wants.
Entirely possible. You are absolutely right. Is Ibushi somebody that is worth destroying that relationship over?
Because
You
they
know,
already
uh,
destroyed it to get Kenny Omega.
no, you know what? There's a lot of stories behind that. It's very interesting. The Young Bucks have told a little bit of it, and I believe it's in their autobiography. Um, but yeah, man, and that's those are the only other people I've heard mention Gato as the booker. You know, I've heard like Carl Anderson, AJ Styles. They've said it in interviews. Oh yeah, when we were giving our notice to New Japan, we went to Gato, and but I've never heard a Japanese wrestler mention any behind the scenes stuff from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Ever.
They
And
keep that shit so kayfabed. It's insane.
so you
Uh,
think maybe Ibushi's going like scorched earth, like he's just burning the bridges behind him to like
he
ensure that he
seems
never comes back?
he seems pissed at how he was treated and is just like, fuck you guys. I'm about to you want to mess with me? Come on. I'll
Because
go
I
down
mean,
swinging.
he did kind of get jacked around when they made him the champ. Like his run.
And he actually answered a fan question about unifying the heavyweight titles and such. It was very that one I have up. Um and he didn't seem like he was against it, but it was one of the things that was just like, oh, what I don't want to paraphrase this.
Well, I know.
Ibushi on unifying the heavyweight and IC titles. I guess I was the right person for the role. It still doesn't make sense to me. It looks like I'm making excuses for saying it afterwards, so please let me get away with this. That was the translation.
Wow.
So it sounds like he wasn't a fan of it either. It doesn't sound like many people were a fan of unifying the heavyweight and IC titles.
Yeah, nobody was. The IC title in New Japan is about as iconic as WWE's IC title.
I
would
love the
put them up there.
designs.
I would put.
I
Them
love
up
the designs. I think that IWGP belt, they call it's the version 4. That is probably neck and neck for me on best belt designs next to the Winged Eagle title. I can't choose a favorite between the Winged Eagle and the V4 IWGP title.
right. Japan has some sick ass belts. They have always had amazing belts, but yeah, I just Ibushi's run. I just feel like for as good as he is, and for as big of a star as he is, when they finally put the belt on him,
Mm-hmm.
it was just kind of a little bit of a letdown. And I can kind of see now that they've moved on a little bit from Ibushi, I can see him being a little bitter about it.
But you know what? They made him the champ. This is kind of like Drew McIntyre winning the WWE title. He won it at a time when there was no fans. He didn't even get to come out in front of fans as the champion, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Ibushi kind of had a little bit of that. I know they had fans there, but it wasn't what it is or what it was. Those couple of years of New Japan were very isolated.
Yeah.
While the matches were still fun, God, there was just something missing. And I even think today there still is something missing because in Japan, they still don't allow you to yell and scream to cheer. You can only clap. And
Is that like a
God,
COVID? A COVID
yeah,
thing?
yeah, it's a COVID thing. Because before, you'd hear the Ibushi, type stuff yelling out. And I love the Japanese audiences. I actually love them better than I like American audiences. Much more respectful. And it's like when you go and watch like the big events like Wrestle Kingdom, or even when they would do Wrestle Kingdom on one night and then the next day it was New Year's Dash at the very much smaller Korakuen Hall. You went from 35,000 people to like 2,500. And you could hear the American fans, and oh my God, they're just so bad. It's so bad that New Japan has to play a video explaining how to be a fan in Japan.
Damn.
But it's cultural differences, If you get too drunk at a wrestling show, they're like, "Get the fuck out."
Right.
Don't be obnoxious. Don't stand up. That's the whole thing. It's more about being respectful to the people around you than anything else, to be quite honest.
Yeah. American wrestling fans, they have that problem where they just want to get over.
Oh, fuck, dude. I remember I was watching an episode of Dynamite a few weeks back, and there was 2 fans, front row, that never sat down.
Damn.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I would hate to be behind that guy.
Oh my gosh. Dude would have had some problems.
Right?
At least security would have come up and said, if you stand up again, we're going to come and take you out.
Exactly.
Because that's annoying as fuck. I hate when people do that. When I went to All Out last year, the fans in front of us were the ones holding, you've seen where each one's holding like a CM Punk and they're each holding a letter. That was the fans right in front of us at All Out.
Jesus.
And
yeah.
I remember the people that we went with, My friend's wife was like, you know, I've been waiting 7 years to see CM Punk again, and I couldn't see it because they held their goddamn signs up the whole time. It was only during the entrance, but still.
It's
You know, I had to watch
crazy.
the entrance in between the fucking letters.
Dude, it's crazy because like we used to go to shows in the Attitude Era, and
Dude.
like they were crazier with signs back then than they are now, and yet I don't ever remember signs being a problem. Like it was like when you're at a taping, like they let you know when the camera's gonna be on you. So like people back then knew to
Right.
fucking sit the fuck down, you know? And nowadays it's like if the camera's not on you, why the fuck are you standing? Like they let you know, like, hey, this is going to be on TV. Do the wave, right? You remember that? Like I remember
Yeah.
at WCW, they did that a couple of times where they had like a usher come out and say, hey man, they're gonna sweep the camera. Make sure you cheer, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
so you know when you're going to be seen. Like
I could still see you doing raising the roof during Booker T's entrance because I think you were holding your Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy, and so I see you doing the doing the raising the roof with Warrior at Bash at the Beach '99.
dude, didn't he win the TV title that night too? Fuck yeah, man.
I don't remember the card outside of Goldberg and Kurt Hennig, Ray and Chris Jericho.
See Ray and Chris Jericho, that was the match I was there to see.
That was dope.
that, and I think it was like Raven versus Saturn. I know there was a
Raven versus Saturn in a Hardcore Rules match, and then it
Yeah.
was Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone versus Rodman and Hogan. That's what I remember.
I remember Raven versus Saturn and Rey Mysterio and Chris Jericho and Eddie and Chavo. Those were the three matches I was
Eddie and
most
Chavo.
hyped for. Because remember, it was the shave your head match, and I wanted them to shave Eddie. Because I love Chavo. Because that was Pepe Chavo, remember? And I was like, dude, Pepe Chavo's my favorite Chavo. And I was like, Eddie needs to get it. And then fucking Eddie won, and I remember I was so fucking pissed. I remember I was so mad because I wanted Chavo to win so bad.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's, you know, when you think about it, man, it's like now, you know, it's like, damn, dude, you had to have been there because people are like, how could you boo Eddie Guerrero? How could you want him to lose? It's like, you don't understand, man. Back then, that shit with Chavo was real. Chavo was my man. Fuck Eddie Guerrero. He's a dick. How could you do that to Chavito?
Oh shit, Chavito. Oh man, I love those days, man. Those.
But yeah, like those
so
shows.
But you're right. There were so many more signs back then, but now it's a fucking problem.
Like,
but again, you've got the people that it's not even like they'll sit opposite of hard cam. And they know they're going to be on camera the whole time. So the whole fucking time they keep putting up and down their fucking poster. And it's like,
or the fucking
I'm trying to watch the fucking match.
The fucking heads, right? Especially like when they had the Cody Rhodes one, and it was like Cody Rhodes' head was in like every fucking match, and it was like, dude,
oh my god,
like I get it when Cody's out, yeah, Cody's head, like whatever, fucking make fun of him. He's a heel, he's a babyface, nobody fucking cares. But Cody is actually in the ring right now. But I don't want to see that shit during Hangman's match.
Well, like, so the guys that were in front of us holding the CM Punk letters, they told us beforehand, they're like, hey, listen, we're going to do this tonight. It's only going to be during his entrance and exit. We won't hold it up during the match. We won't hold it up during any other match. Only his entrance and after the match. Hey, no problem.
Fuck yeah, I'd help him.
That was cool.
Right? I'd help. I'd be like, hell, dude, well, we'll fucking stand on the chair and hold it up higher. We'll do it as a team. Right? Like, that shit's fun.
You know, right, and I'm cool with that. It's just like when you've got a sign and all you're doing is just fucking holding it up for the whole show, it's like, I don't care that you got a sign for Hangman or Punk or Roman and it's like, stop.
To me, it's once the bell
Stop
rings. Like, the bell is supposed to signal, hey, right? That was the whole point of the bell. The match is starting. Sit down.
Exactly.
Shut up, right? I feel like as soon as the bell goes off, you should be fucking sit the fuck down and your sign should be in your lap and we're going to watch some fucking wrestling. Like, you know, and...
Not anymore.
It's just... Well, no, dude, it's only in America, man. Like,
well, yes,
Japan,
only in America.
Europe,
dude.
that shit doesn't go on in Europe. That shit actually does go on in Mexico, though. It's a North America thing, okay? It's a North
It's crazy
America
in Mexico.
Mexico, they don't give.
And
a
in
fuck.
Mexico, they got the fucking vuvuzelas and the horrit going at all times too.
They just
Holy
fight
shit!
the fans in Mexico. They just fight. Fans.
Oh my! Pretty
old
much.
ass
Pretty
Mexican
much. Oh, as I
grandpa,
almost got killed in Mexico.
right? They just start shanking luchadors, Fucking Penta.
Speaking
fuck
of
him.
Mexico, I can't remember if I've told you this story. So my partner and I were wrestling, and I could have told it on this podcast. I don't remember. My memory is so fucked. Down in Mexico, we were wrestling in Tijuana, and the venue was actually an old movie theater. Here's the shitty part. It was a burned down movie theater. There was no fucking roof, no fucking seats. So all the seats were like those plastic party chairs.
Fuck yeah.
There was no power either. So the locker room had almost no light. They had like one little they actually had to like run like extension cords from the entrance of the movie theater all the way to the locker room we were in. Well, me and my partner, we make our way to the ring. The funny thing about the ring is from the floor to the top of the ring, where to below the bottom rope was like 4.5 feet.
Wow.
So it was a tall fucking ring.
Jesus. Well,
that was one.
Man. They want to jump.
And the ring was stiff as fuck. Well, here's the funny part. Talking about fans. So we're heels. So me and my partner, we come around. We're taunting the fans, and most of them don't know what the fuck we're saying. We say a few things in Spanish that are probably not appropriate.
You're bad guy wrestlers.
Bad guy wrestlers. I mean, I've come out throwing tortillas at lucha shows. I've done some pretty
I think the only
borderline
line that was
racist
crossed,
shit.
I think JBL doing the Zig Heil in a German show. I think
because it's illegal in the country.
Yeah. Well, even if it wasn't illegal, I think that's the line you don't cross. Sure. But I feel like for bad guy wrestlers, I see it as like stand-up comedy. Like the more dastardly they are, the better. So like I feel like bad guy wrestlers should be offensive. Like they should
be offensive. I'll never go and like drop N-bombs and call racial slurs or anything like that.
I think that's appropriate if the bad guy loses. Right? If you came out at a Mexican show and you started calling everybody wetbacks and you're a white guy and then the Mexican hero comes out, whatever fucking white meat baby face.
See, for me, I'm not even comfortable saying that to the people.
Yeah, but see, the baby face comes out, beats your ass, then I feel like as far as the art and the story goes, that's fine. Now, would I do that in Mexico?
Got the comeuppance.
No, because in Mexico, you're going to get shanked anyways, right?
Speaking of shanked, so we're walking around the ring talking shit. This fan leans over, looks my tag partner dead in the eye, and goes, "You're on the wrong side of the border, homie." I look right at my partner. He looks at me in the eye and goes, I got this. And I'm thinking he's going to de-escalate the situation, whatever. He looks right back at the guy, leans in and goes, "Fuck your mother."
Ah.
I just went, oh shit. Here's the thing. At that point, I knew if this dude's got a weapon, I'm moving to high ground. Because if he's going to, like a knife, if he's got to get in the ring to fucking get me.
Yeah.
And that means he's got to either go under the ropes or through the ropes. Either way, I got an opening if this motherfucker jumps in. As soon as he said that, I went, oh shit. And I was like, get in the ring right fucking now. And he's like, and we get in. He's like, why? And I'm like, because if that fucker chases you, he's got to come in here. And then we could fucking stop him.
Right? Nothing
happened.
Because it's a lucha show. There's no security. The security is.
There was no security.
That's the security.
There was zero security.
The security is,
and that's why I was like, get in the fucking ring. And the whole fucking time, we ended up losing the match. The baby faces cheer, and we told them, hey, only one of our opponents spoke English. So we said, hey, go with that guy and high five him to kind of calm him the fuck down. We went back, got changed, got our pay, and fucking left.
Right.
And we had to walk through the crowd to leave. So it was like, go, 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 go. Got in my fucking car and drove the fuck out. I was like, I ain't sticking around because if this motherfucker will... I was parked on the outside of the building down this little alley. Nah. I'm leaving while he's still fucking in there. Right. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. I got my... We even told the promoter, we're like, sorry, we pissed this guy off. We're afraid he's going to show up and try and stab us after the show. Is it okay if we leave? And she was like, oh yeah, totally fine. Here you go. Here's your money. Takes off.
See, man.
But dude, I just remember that. Fuck your mother. I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker.
Right. I can see that happen. But I mean, it's a wrestling show, man. You got to expect that. It's a wrestling show in Mexico.
One time, my partner taunted a fan. and the fan actually tried to get in the ring, and my partner played the chicken shit heel and ran away. Dude, we came to the back and Adam Pearce is on our ass. What the fuck are you doing? You know, that fan, you just lost all your fucking heat by running away from a fan. You are a trained wrestler. You should be able to take a fan out, and you ran away from a fan. And my partner's like, I'm a heel. That's why I ran. He goes, no, if he jumps in the ring, fuck him up.
Every time, man.
And I'm just sitting there like,
in.
yes, sir. See, the guy got on the apron, and then my partner went, ah! And the guy jumped down laughing and walked away.
Right?
Like it wasn't like the guy tried to even attack. We were on the complete opposite side of the ring from him.
Yeah, but I kind of get what Adam was saying in that.
I 100% agree. You killed your heat because why'd you run from a fan?
Because you're supposed to be a big, scary wrestler, and they're supposed to be a regular guy. And
right.
The whole idea is that, yeah, you're a bitch, but you're only a bitch to other wrestlers.
Exactly. And that was, like, there was even a story of back in the I forget the promoter. I think Jericho or Mick Foley talked about it in their book, where if this promoter finds out you got into a fight with a fan and lost, you were fired.
Basically. Never lose. Only win.
And I'll just like, and I understood Adam's thing, and Adam was great. He always gave us really cool advice. Shit, if Adam Pearce was the guy that put us on Ring of Honor over on a WrestleMania 26 weekend, you know, Adam, he'll always be up there in my book. Cool guy, good guy,
right?
Deserves where he's at, absolutely.
Exactly. Well, we are out of time though.
Yeah. Holy shit, that went quick.
Yeah. So we'll have to call it here, but hey, those of y'all that came along for the journey, I want to thank y'all for stopping by and hanging out with us. And, you know, let me know how the universe mode is going in the background. I noticed Ryan Stone, he was texting me. He's like, oh, shit, this is that Money Inc. match you were talking about. So, yeah,
dude,
let me
Money
know.
Inc. No, it wasn't Money Inc. It was DiBiase and Andre against the Hart Foundation. That match fucking banged.
Right? So, yeah, I'm working on more of the universe stuff, and I'll have some matches set up for this one. So, yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay hooked up with us on Twitter. All the links should be in the description. And
at Ryan Stone SD, come find me.
Yeah, go find him. Get into a fight with him in real life. Remember, his tag team partner ran from a fan. He didn't.
I never ran from a fan, but I've never had one try to run after me, so.
Right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see y'all next time on Play Fighting.
Later.